Carolina Panthers, and New York Jets practice squads. In a programming note, you can catch the Nashville Sounds tonight live on 94.9 The Fan as they take on the Charlotte Knights in the second game of its 6-game series. You can listen to pregame coverage beginning at 6:20 p.m. Central Time tonight, with first pitch being scheduled at 6:35 with Jeff Hem on the call.
For more, log on to theGameNashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's almost 420, and Sheba Hut on Donaldson Pike is throwing an all-day party you don't want to miss. Join the celebration Monday, April 20th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with music all day long. Randy Spencer from DJ Nashville kicks things off, spinning tunes from 11 to 3. Then the Nick Johnson Band takes the stage live from 4 to 10 p.m. Enjoy 420 domestic drafts, mix and match 4 for 20 beer buckets, games, and good vibes all day. Plus, The Buzz will be on site. Sheba Hut on Donaldson Pike. Subs, drinks, music, and a family-friendly 420 celebration.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Any day at a ballpark is a beautiful thing. And today we're at First Horizon Park, where the Sounds will play tonight at 6:35. I won't pretend to give you the nickname of tonight's opponent, but let's just say come on out because the weather is going to be great. They had a big walk-up last night, had over 7,000 in here for their home opener. And Kelly, just to prove that we're at the ballpark, picture than me. Parker, if you will take that sucker and let's show the field at First Horizon Park. This is exciting. Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing great, George. It looks like Parker has taken the wind out of the equation and gelled his hair where it won't move. Is that correct?
Well, we'll find that out here in just a second, because I've never been one to moose it up. I'm just not into that, but others are, and that's what makes the world go round. What else do you have for us today?
I don't have much, man. Just a nice day. We had a little rain shower, cooled everything off for a second, and then it got really hot. So I feel like summer is here early. It's kind of crazy. It's supposed to be springtime, and it's in the high 80s, which is kind of crazy for this time of year. So just kind of goes along with the weather pattern here lately.
I'll guarantee you the Sounds like it, because over the years, April can be a little bit of a zero weather-wise. Baseball was not meant to be played in the 30s and the 40s. I was watching last night at Wrigley Field, the Angels and the Cubs, and the throng that was gathered at Wrigley, they looked miserable.
I can imagine. I can't. First of all, and I've said it before, as I get older, I'm sure you're the same way, but as I get older, I don't like cold weather. I wish it would stay like 70 degrees the whole year round. You know, in San Diego, it does. There's always breeze off the water. I wish it could stay like that here, but, you know, unfortunately it doesn't.
Well, and even more with me, because I had a lot of damage from the ice storm, way more than probably the average person. And it's a royal pain in the butt trying to get your home back to where you want it to be, where it doesn't look like Vietnam. And so, yeah, I'm definitely out on cold weather. This is great. It's got to be, I'll look it up here. It's got to be at least 79. So there we go.
There you
Perfect.
go.
Yeah. Okay, so Parker, what is the condition of your hair? Is it a big Jimmy Johnson deal?
The wind still is affecting it, Kelly. I didn't gel it enough where it's just not moving at all, kind of like Reese Davis's hair. I'm getting a little movement. George and I both walked over here and got hit by the wind quite a bit. But the hair's doing all right.
You definitely don't have a receding hairline like myself. I've got a little receding going on over here, So you've got a full lock there, which is good, and it's doesn't have any gray in it, and it doesn't look like it's really gelled. I mean, it looks like it's just thick. From heredity.
The wind is just pounding my hair right now. So
I got you. Okay.
Toughen up. Really, the wind is pounding my hair.
On the weather front, I will say, as someone who lived in Chicago for 3.5 years, it stinks. It's terrible. I hate it. I wish it was 70 degrees year round as well.
There's definitely a difference in weather between here and Chicago. So
yes.
We got a lot of fun things happening today. Kelly, I got to attend the press conference over at Belmont involving the hiring of Evan Brads. And look, I can go ahead and say it now. Probably the first two players that I came in contact with when I worked at Belmont were Taylor Barnett and Evan Brads. And so was I rooting for this? Heck yeah, I was. And it was great to see the turnout that they had today. Anyway, Evan will join us today at 4:00. I guess that means it's update time.
It does mean it's update time.
An update with substance, or is it a bunch of junk?
I got some news and notes, George.
Is that so?
Something that you'll want to hear?
Yeah.
By the way, the Sounds are playing the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. That's why we're here.
Charlotte, back when both of them were in the Southern League, had a player, because I did some of his games, Cal Ripken Jr. That's going back a ways. I was in college.
That was a long time ago, George.
A long time ago.
All right. Congratulations, Titans fans. You're on your way to the Super Bowl as the team has signed quarterback Hendon Hooker, reuniting the former Vols quarterback with the fans really wanted him about 3 years ago when it was between Will Levis and Hendon Hooker. Now you get both of them.
That's a good intro, Parker.
I had to lead off the update with that. I had to.
Kelly, I know what that feels like to me.
What does that feel like, George?
Feels like Will Levis isn't going to be here much longer.
That's the sentiment I get, man. I just, when they the stuff that they've done in the offseason, like they can talk all that game they want to, but Will Levis is no longer going to be a Titan. I don't feel like.
I'm with you.
He'd be a great fit in LA. Give us a 5th-round pick.
In LA, as a Ram,
really?
Go work with Sean McVay.
They're going with Kirk Cousins.
Go work with Sean McVay. Kirk Cousins needs to end up in Vegas. That's what I think needs to happen.
I'm just saying that is the big rumor right now, that he'll end up in Vegas.
The Titans have also signed wide receiver KJ Osborne. He's been around the league, so adding some depth to the wide receiver room. Tiger Woods has announced that he's stepping away from golf.
Okay, hold on, man. Let's go back. KJ Osborne, adding depth.
He doesn't really move the needle. He doesn't really move the needle, does he, George?
Get me somebody that can get open and catch the football. What's this guy's past?
Played for the Commanders, played for the Cowboys, played for the Vikings.
I mean, was he on all practice squads?
I think he was wide receiver 3 at one point in Minnesota, if I remember correctly.
Was he? Okay.
I'm excited.
I know you are.
I love it. He needs hey, everybody needs a chance. Everybody needs a chance.
Tiger Woods is stepping away from golf to seek treatment for his mental health, his overall health, well-being. So that was announced this morning.
Look, without getting knee-deep, I think all of us just simply hope that he gets his act together. Golf needs Tiger Woods, whether he is capable of winning the Masters anymore or not, Kelly. He's just an important piece of golf in this country.
There's no question about that. Brad Faxon even said that on the broadcast the other day. There's nobody that moves the needle like Tiger Woods, and I think everybody, they loved him when he was successful, and they still love him to this day. They want him to get help, and he needs to be part of it, because if he's just there, people are going to watch. He doesn't have to play good, but I don't even know if he has to play, but just being around the game, he moves the needle. And I think everybody just because, hey, I said yesterday, with the pain that he's in, I know because I've been in pain like that. And I have not got addicted to painkillers like that. But I mean, it's tough sometimes when you get into that situation and you can't walk and you can't move and everything is just pharmaceutical drugs. That sucks. But just like everybody's talked about, if you're going to do that and you feel the need that you have to do that to at least live, you need to get somebody to drive you around. And I think everybody's looking forward to him, getting help and getting better.
Amen.
I don't think I can name a single player on the Tennessee Lady Vols roster, as it seems like every other day someone is entering the transfer portal. Today, former 5 stars Mia Paldo and her twin sister Maya both entered the transfer portal. Both of them were former 5-star recruits. They're gone.
Well, okay, it's become pretty apparent that something's not right. Not quite right there. I don't pretend to know what Danny White is doing. Danny White, I'm not a big fan of his. He seems a lot more interested in gouging the fan base to get their last dollar than he does anything else. But the Lady Vols matter up there, and he better get their act in gear or else.
George, and that's why I asked Tony yesterday, because I mean,
Sure.
Parker's too young. Parker's a little young, but when Pat Summitt took that thing and won all those national championships and did all the things that she did, people loved the Lady Vols, and the fans are not going to stand for that. And he may be, with all these young ladies leaving, he may be forced to do something. It wouldn't surprise me.
Does feel that way, doesn't it?
Yep.
They still do love them. That's why they're so upset about the way things have gone.
Absolutely.
The college basketball crown starts tonight. It is a separate tournament that involves a split up of NIL money. The winning team will get $500,000 contributed to their NIL budget. The second place team will get $300,000, and the third and fourth place teams will get $50,000 each. That starts tonight.
Let me ask this question to both of you, because it's an interesting concept, what they're trying to do, but it feels like it's a little too late. What do y'all think?
Definitely. No, I agree. That's what I was thinking, because it's April 1st today, and the Final Four's in what? 3-4 days? That does seem.
Explain this to me a little bit more, Parker. I'm kind of in the dark on this. Explain this a little bit more.
So it was a tournament that I believe was created last year.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's kind of like, they're doing the tournaments at the beginning of the regular season too, the Nike whatever, and they give you NIL money if you win. So that's kind of what this is. It's a postseason tournament. It's like Oklahoma will play in it, West Virginia will play in it, Baylor, Minnesota, teams that were 500, sub 500.
How many schools are in it?
8. That's my understanding.
8. Okay,
so
I got
tonight is Oklahoma and Colorado, Baylor and Minnesota, and tomorrow night Stanford, West Virginia, Rutgers, and Creighton.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that's I don't know. I don't.
A little bit late to be trying to get interest in this now.
100%.
For the junkies that just can't get enough college basketball, yeah, maybe so. Is that a big number? I don't think on April Fool's it is.
No.
Oh man. So Dan Hurley has made some comments about his little bumping into Roger Ayers at the end of the game against Duke. He said that he was looking to go for the chest bump, that him and Roger Ayers have a good relationship. I can already see George shaking his head.
Look, get me wrong. Dan Hurley is a brilliant basketball coach. But a little bit like his brother, they've got kind of a psycho side to it.
Man.
And the whole concept of a coach headbutting an official, I mean, I'm sorry. That's just not right. And frankly, he's lucky he didn't get his ass thrown out. You know?
Yeah.
Because there's old officials who would have said, get out of here.
If it was anybody other than Roger Ayers, I think he would have gotten teed up.
I just
what if that happens? What if that happens though, George? He gets teed up right there and they lose the game on that. Like, is that like what do you do right there?
Well,
if you're an AD,
think about it, Kelly. It would create for all of these shows nationally. That would be the only thing you'd be hearing right now. And maybe Ayers realized that and said, I don't want to be in the middle of that. But you know what? If that happens in the regular season, he's teed up. There's no doubt in my mind about it. First of all, it's a stupid idea on Dan Hurley's part. And while Hurley is a brilliant coach, he's got kind of a psycho side to him.
Psychotic.
I don't think he was thinking about that when he did it. And I don't know if it was a headbutt, but like it was. Yeah, I mean, it's he gets excited. There's no question. I mean, when the shot was hit, you got the cameras, focusing in on him, and he's strutting his stuff. He's strutting his stuff, and that's just kind of how Dan Hurley is, man.
Right, but you do that with your assistant coaches or your players. You don't do that.
Agreed. I agree. I totally agree with you, George. I agree.
This is a perfect segue into what I was going to bring up next. And George, you probably have already seen this call by C.B. Buckner. I'm just going to play it.
Bowers. Oh, and it out of the glove of Williamson. Throws it first. It's wide.
Basically, he said the runner never touched first base.
Yeah, the runner is Jake Bauer.
Never did make a move towards second base.
Used to be with the Tampa Bay Rays, now with the Milwaukee Brewers.
So he's safe.
This is probably the downside, Kelly, to this whole instant replay thing. It is making the bottom tier of umpires look really stupid. C.B. Buckner, for as long as he has been in the game, he and oh gosh, who was the other one? Angel.
Oh yes,
that is the horrendous call.
He and Angel,
I know who you're talking about.
and I'll get his last name in a minute. I'm sorry, but those two have been considered the two worst major league umpires, and what this system is kind of doing is exposing that. And I'm not sure that's what anybody wants in this, but it might be time to think about different umpires.
George, I've said this before, though. You talking about those two guys there, but, the upper echelon of those umpires, man, you watch their balls and strikes, they're really good. I mean, when they put that box on there, those dudes are really good at what they do, the upper echelon guys.
The fact that CB Buckner is the one coming in for the most criticism, for those of us who really follow baseball on a day-by-day basis, this is no surprise whatsoever. He's been considered one of the 2 or 3 worst umpires in baseball for years. This is not new stuff.
Congratulations, Tony Vitello. He got his second MLB win last night. 9-3 over the Padres. It's 2 wins in a row for him, Kelly.
Are we going to do this every time he wins just because you're a big Tony Vitello guy?
Every time, man.
No, we're not.
Not every time. The Predators are still in that final wild card spot in the Western Conference, 77 points. They begin their 6-game road stretch tomorrow night. A caffeine special. We've had a couple of these, Kelly. 9:30 p.m. puck drop over there in L.A.
Mm-hmm. Ask me if I'll be watching.
George, will you be watching?
You're dang right I will be. So here's the deal. This matchup tomorrow night with the LA Kings is a big one. Number one, because they're the two right now battling at the top of trying to get to the 8th and final playoff spot. The Kings will have played tonight, and they will go back to back while the Predators will not have played for 3 days. Big advantage for the Preds.
That's true.
And I'll leave you with this. The name Chris Pronger, the former St. Louis Blue, all 6'7" of him.
Big guy.
Starting to be rumored a lot as somebody the Preds have talked to about their vacant GM job. Chris Pronger.
Oh, wow.
Remember
Chris
that one.
Pronger.
Okay.
Okay. You
Chris
said
Pronger.
it. You heard it first here on the George Plaster Show by old Jorge himself.
That's a fitting way to end America's favorite update.
Yeah,
Right?
whatever. America's favorite update. Kelly.
T-shirts are already in the making.
Yeah, no, they're not.
You'll both have one soon.
I want to throw
Hey,
up, Kelly.
You got to give him some. You got to give it to him, George. Though he's branded himself. There's no doubt.
He has.
Tony in Nolensville will get one when we go to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I don't doubt he will. Okay. After the break, the hardest working Nashvilleian in sports. You know, I say that, but Jill Jelnick at Fox 17 may well be there, right with Mike. Anyway, Mike Organ will join us after the break from First Horizon Park, where the Sounds play Charlotte tonight at 6:35. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Online.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I said listen to
Wednesday afternoon from First Horizon Park. The Sounds take on Charlotte tonight at 6:35. The weather is awesome. If you're a baseball fan, you get on out here and enjoy that good weather. So over the last year or so, every time we have Mike Organ on the show, I always refer to him as the hardest working sports personality in Nashville. And he works his fanny off. Let's bring him up here real quickly. Mike, I got to make it a tie, though. between you and Jill Jelnick at Fox 17?
No, there's no competition there. Jill's got me beaten into the ground. I mean, there's just last time I saw Jill, we were freezing at a football game, and she looked as beautiful as she always does, and I look like an Eskimo. So, no, I give that up to Jill, that title. But I will say this: I'm glad you did bring up how hard I work, because I was working so hard today that you and I were in the same space, and I was unable to get over and speak to you. One, because you're so popular, and two, because I was so busy.
So we were both at Belmont at the Evan Brad's press conference, and Mike, they had a terrific crowd there for that.
They did a fantastic job with that. I was so impressed, especially for a 10:30. You know, a lot of people, from what I've heard, George, they have to go to offices and work. Unlike you and I, they have set hours that they go and work and are expected to be there. But they were a lot of people showed up today. They took time out to welcome Evan Brad's back. And I think what you saw was what a popular figure and a popular hire or perfect hire this is. This was a no-brainer. You and I talked about this all the way back to when we first started speculating whether Casey Alexander would leave or might leave. We were like, well, if he does, you know, it's Evans Brad's. And it just kind of unfolded exactly the way everybody expected.
So, Mike, we're going to have Evan on at 4:00. And one of the things I want him to do is kind of give me a little bit of a capsule comment on all of these different people he's worked for, because it's an absolute who's who of a resume. The one I'm most interested in finding out was, what was his relationship with Coach K?
Yeah, me too. I'd like to know that. I asked him how it came about that he left Utah and went to Duke, and because I was intrigued by that. Because, George, a lot of times when a guy gets up into the NBA like that, he stays. He doesn't come back to college. He just, you know, makes that circuit and goes from one team to another. And that's what Evan said he thought he was going to do. But he gets a call from John Shire, and one thing leads to another. He ends up at Duke. So I asked him how that came about, you know, the call from John Shire. And he said, we have some mutual friends and connections. And I wonder if Coach K isn't one of those mutual connections, because we all know that Rick Byrd is close to Mike Krzyzewski. And I just wondered if that might have been who reached out to make that initial contact to connect John and Evan.
Mike, it was, I guess, right around 10 years ago. Evan called me one day and wanted to know what I thought, because he was really torn between wanting to play overseas for a year or two as opposed to what Rick Byrd was setting up for him, which I thought was a lifetime kind of thing through Brad Stevens. And I just so admire the fact that Rick Byrd went out on a limb for one of his guys and basically set him up with a coaching career for life.
And really changed the trajectory of his life, because at that point, Evan had no desire to be a coach. He didn't know what he wanted to be. He was a little devastated, as you know. Well, I don't know how close to the injury was that you were talking to him, but what you are talking about, the deal he set him up with Brad Stevens and the Celtics, was a deal where, you know, Evan didn't know what he wanted to do, and Rick just said, well, here, how about go coach with the Celtics? I mean, who could turn that down? And you know, if he hadn't been happy, he could have taken a different direction. But he got up there and he paid his dues. He told us today that he was a glorified practice dummy for the NBA guys to beat up on at first. But the more he stuck around, the more responsibility he was given, and he found out that he really enjoyed helping players get better. And that's what coaching boils down to. And he decided, you know, if I'm not going to play forever like I'd initially planned, then coaching might be something to check into.
Mike, while all this was going on at Belmont, in the last 3 or 4 days, Candace Lee got Mark Byington signed to a contract extension right as there's a lot of noise about North Carolina. They still haven't hired a head coach. They're even discussing Jerry Stackhouse. Good Lord. But it's time to start giving Candace Lee credit, because this is another in a series of step up when it's obvious you need to step up, and kudos to her.
So that's always been a key, is getting your coach locked up as soon as you can at the end of the season, or as soon as you can. It's never been more important than it is now, though, with the transfer portal, which is just looming as the season ends. It opens here, in 7 days. But even before it opens, players start jumping in and saying they're going here. They're going to leave here. Here I am when it opens. Come after me. And I think, as much as anything, what this did was get Mark Byington in a position to where he can talk some of those players, and we know who we're talking about, Tyler Tanner, most importantly, to stick around and come back. Things are stable here. We're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to go further next year than we did this year, is the thing that he can sell now that he's got a new contract or contract extension in his pocket. And kudos to Candace for doing that, like you said.
Mike, the last thing before I turn it over to Kelly, a friend of yours and a friend of mine, Mike Eller, was put in the Tennessee Golf Hall of Fame here recently. I know you were there that night. Talk to me about it.
I was there, and I enjoyed it, getting to see the golf community, which I had not seen in a while. So many: Harry Taylor, Bob Walcott, who's also going in, actually, Mike Nixon, Dick Horton, Whit Turnbow. It was so good seeing all those people, and they did a great job, George, of putting together a video kind of telling the story from Mike being from the golf royalty family, the Eller family in Old Hickory, and then doing what he did with Hermitage. And the coolest thing I found was that at one point, when Mike decided he wanted to build a golf course, a big, nice public golf course, he got in the helicopter. And gosh, I wish I could remember which mayor it was at the time, and maybe you would know, was it Purcell, whoever it was at that time. He got in a helicopter on the 9th hole at Old Hickory, and they took off. They were going to go around Nashville and try to identify some land where they could build 2 courses where they could get free water. So they were probably going to have to stay near, likely, the Cumberland River. And they needed a lot of space, obviously. They go up in this helicopter, and they go about a mile, and they look down, and they say, "What about this?" and it turns out it was where the course is now. I think the mayor told him, he said, yeah, he goes, it's, they can't sell it to build for construction, but it's not in a flood. It is in a flood zone, but it doesn't flood often. And that ended up being the course, which is just amazing to me. You know, they retained a helicopter, and they're ready to fly all over town. And they go a half mile down the road and find their course. And of course, that's where Mike made his greatest mark, was building the Hermitage Golf Course, which didn't take long after it got up and going that they brought the Sarah Lee Classic here, which was the biggest sports event we had up to that point. And it had a great run out there before it moved, and should never have moved. But before it moved, it had a great run out there. And Mike just did a wonderful job with that. He's done a wonderful job just with offering a great course that he's kept public, not a private course, all these years.
Really good man, and I was happy to see that. Kelly, such a good man that he told me once, do me a favor, don't play any of our courses.
Because he'd seen you play, George.
He sure had. He was appalled.
So, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Kelly. How are you?
I'm great, man. Hey, I want to go back to Vandy, man, because George just brought up Mark Byington and the job that Candace Lee's done. And then, Parker brought up a deal yesterday because we all know Parker's a big UT guy. But in the big major sports, in the last year, Vanderbilt is 9-1. Against Tennessee. And the job that Candace Lee's done is unbelievable. But, with this NIL world, everybody, I can remember being on the show a couple of years ago and, the NIL was coming onto the scene and we wondered how Vanderbilt was going to be able to do that. Are you surprised? Because you hear, and I don't know the numbers and you probably don't either, but are you surprised or encouraged that, Vanderbilt is hanging with everybody in all this NIL money stuff?
I'm shocked, and Kelly, I don't mind saying that I was one that feared this was the death knell for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was not in a good place at the time. George mentioned the coach a couple of minutes ago who may end up at North Carolina, Jerry Stackhouse, who did not have the basketball program in a good place. Clark was not having early success with football. Baseball was obviously clicking along like it always does, and women's basketball had fallen off the map. And you bring in something like this, where you're going to have to start paying players, and you're talking about a university that's got about 6,000 students, and playing against, the biggest universities in their respective states. And yes, Vanderbilt alums graduate with a lot of money, with great jobs, great positions in the community, nationally and internationally. But I wondered, did they have enough to play this game? And I feared they didn't. And especially starting with 1 foot, I felt like in the grave, before it all started. That makes what Candace has done. If she had done this under normal times, there'd never been any transfer portal or NIL, it would have been incredibly impressive. But you throw in transfer portal and NIL as the wild card that none of us saw coming, and she still did it. And it's just, you're impressed beyond words, to be honest. She's done a remarkable job that may be unparalleled in college athletics in modern day history.
And Mike, we talked about it with Diego Pavia, and everybody wants to know with Clark Lee in the football, is that sustainable? But I want to know through the athletic department, do you think this is sustainable with what she's done so far? It seems to me like it is.
Well, they're sure trying to do that, Kelly. It started with bringing in your first 5-star player prospect in history, and he's a quarterback. And you mentioned Diego Pavia. You don't get him if it's not for Pavia. So that's all about sustaining. There is, they got Pavia to establish a relationship with Jared Curtis, the best quarterback that's been around here in a long time, if not ever. I've been around 41 years, and I think he's the best quarterback I've seen in Nashville. I want to wait until he plays SEC competition, because he was in a lower class, a division in high school, but he's got all the tools. He's 6'5", he's big, he's got big hands. I think that he's going to be the best to ever play here, and Vanderbilt laid the groundwork while they were still experiencing success to get him and to, as you said, sustain. Well, as we just talked about with George, they did the same thing by locking up Mark and getting him an extension quickly, keeping him happy so that he can in turn his team, and most importantly Tyler Tanner, around, keep him from jumping in or going to anywhere else. And so that's about sustainability. So they're doing the right things. I mean, they got there and they're doing the right things to stay there. Now, we won't know until the future if it works. We don't have the glass ball that, crystal ball that can tell us that, but it sure looks like they're doing what it takes to remain where they are.
So my last question here, Mike, is, and I want to go to Evan Bradds, obviously a remarkable player at Belmont. He goes off in the NBA, and then he goes to Duke. He comes back. When Rick Byrd left, Casey Alexander had some coaching experience. Now Evan Bradd comes head coaching experience. Now Evan Bradd comes in, and he doesn't have head coaching experience. But what is the hardest thing that he's going to have to get adjusted to at Belmont, you think?
Well, it's the same thing we're already talking. about Kelly, and the thing that I thought might keep him from leaving the NBA, and it's NIL.
Right.
And it has hit that level of basketball harder than anything in all of college athletics. The mid-majors have suffered the brunt of this. They're the ones that now all they are, what mid-level, but they're just stepping stones for players to come in and try to prove themselves to get a better deal at a bigger school or a school that will pay them more. And it's a one-year cycle. I was with Casey Alexander at the beginning of the season, and somebody suggested that he's in a 2-year cycle. How difficult is that? And he said it's not a 2-year cycle. It's a 1-year cycle. It turns your roster turns over every year. You can expect that, and you need to learn how to deal with it. And maybe Evan not having any prior head coaching experience, that's a plus for him, because he's going to have to come in and learn how to do that along with everything else that you have to do as a head coach. So with him not having any preconceived habits or, things in place that go against the transfer portal and put together an NIL deal, maybe he learns, and that's part of his evolution in this new career, is that he learns fresh and has ideas about how to get kids around, how to go out and find kids, and all that. That's part of it now at the major level.
So, Mike, I do feel for the mid-majors when they get to this point. Realistically, how much is Belmont able to compete with rev share and NIL, given that they don't have a football team?
Well, Parker, to be honest, we did not having a football team is an advantage for Belmont. Now, I know what you're saying. They don't have a football team that generates revenue. If they did have a football team, it wouldn't generate revenue at this level. It's how Belmont got in the Ohio Valley Conference. Belmont got in the OVC, and then Lipscomb wanted to follow. Well, the Murray States of the world and Austin Peay's said, no, we don't need another basketball-only playing team in our conference, because Austin Peay and Murray and all the rest of them were being dragged down by their football programs. Their football programs were costing them money that could have gone to basketball. So I know what you're saying, that they don't have a football team that can help them, but not having a football team in this instance actually does help them, because if there was a football team, it would be taking money away from their athletic department and what they can do in the NIL with their NIL deal.
So I know too that the development aspect for Belmont has been top notch for mid-major, because they lose guys, it seems like, year in, year out. I mean, we go all the way back. Malik Dia, Jacoby Gillespie, all the kid that was at Florida, Will Richard. So this happens, but it seems like they're able to get these guys out of the portal, develop them, and just start clicking again. Do you see that happening under Evan Brads as well?
Yeah, I think that I'm pretty sure that I know Casey and Evan have talked, and I'm sure that Casey's not on that level anymore, so he can tell him all of his secrets. And what Casey tried to do was make Belmont a point of destination. Yes, it's a point that a school that good players are going to leave because they can get better deals financially at other schools, like the players you mentioned, and most recently Jacoby Gillespie, who we saw be Tennessee's best player this year. And currently, Tyler Lundblade has already left. He's not going to come back. He may end up at Tennessee. But what Casey did was he made Belmont a destination school for kids on a level below that are looking to come up. They've had success with players from Memphis who weren't getting to play, but they were good players, and they came there and played. Tyler Lundblade, who I just mentioned, was looking for a place to play, and he came to Belmont and found it. So, yes, I think what you're going to see now is not just the players leaving, but you've got to bring players in. You've got to make it a place where players want to come, and the bottom line is money. So Evan Brads has to go out and sell his program and he's a personable guy. He's one of the best guys. He's never met a stranger. He's easy to talk to, and he's going to do a good job in that respect, I believe. And then you talk about, like George said, the connections he has. He can go into a businessman's office and say, you know, yeah, I deal with Mike Krzyzewski and John Shire and, you know, Brad Stevens. And I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to sell this program.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You have to pick an athletic department over the next 5 years that is going to have more success. Tennessee or Vanderbilt? Who are you choosing?
Wow. That is putting somebody on the spot, Parker.
Sorry, Mike, I had to do it.
I know. And, you know, you can only go by what you're looking at right now. I don't have that crystal ball to look into the future. So all I can do is go by what the proof that I've seen so far. And what Kelly and I were talking about, the future groundwork that's being laid, and with what Vanderbilt has done and is doing with locking Byington up, and with, you know, getting a young player in women's basketball like they did, and with what they've done with parlaying a fantastic quarterback into a top prospect like they've never had, I'd say Vanderbilt. I just do. You know, and the Tennessee baseball program is still kind of in flux. We don't know where that's going with Vitella being gone. So you got that. Basketball's still fine. Basketball still went further than Vanderbilt did in the NCAA tournament, and has now for 3-4 years in a row. So, you know, I think that's still on level footing. Football, I have no idea. You know, I like what Vanderbilt's doing better than what I like what Tennessee's doing right now.
Interesting. Mike, as always, you were a wealth of info. Appreciate it. Let's do it again next Wednesday.
Let's do it, George. And are you going to any other sporting venues? You've been to Belmont and you're out at the Sounds now. Is that it for the day?
I think that's it for the day, but you never know.
Not for the week, I can tell you that much.
You never know.
Keep him on the move, Parker.
Talk to you, Mike.
See you guys.
Mike Organ from the Tennessean joining us to start the show. After the break, a few thoughts about some of what he had to say on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Music City Rugby Shootout brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity. Hear the hits. Experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of professional rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park. Get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Although it doesn't matter, you and me got plenty of time.
Wow. That's an oldie but a goodie as we welcome all of you back to an 80-degree day at the ballpark. Sounds in Charlotte tonight at 6:35. I think most of you who have lived here know we don't get a lot of 80-degree days in early April. So probably the happiest man in Nashville, Sounds General Manager Adam English, will join us at our broadcast site today around 4:25. So Kelly Parker asked a really interesting question about which athletic department, kind of has the most upside here over the next 5 years. And I mean, let's face it, no matter what level of Vanderbilt fan you probably are, you're asking yourself the question, is the football sustainable? And the answer, if it's yes, is probably only because of Clark Lee.
I believe so, yeah. But that's why I asked him the question about the NIL stuff, because we talked about it when all this stuff started, George, a couple of years ago, and we all were in agreement, just like Mike was in agreement, that we didn't think it was sustainable and we didn't think that they would have the money. And it turns out that Vanderbilt does have the money, and they've got people readily available and giving it. So it's kind of amazing. And then Candace Lee, hey, I think you're dead on, George. I think she's been progressive in what she's done. She understands. She's got a really good men's basketball coach. She's got a really good women's basketball coach. And, she just gave an extension to Mark Byington because she wants to get him under contract for many years, and she likes obviously what he's doing. I think you like what he's doing. You've expressed it on the show. I think, he's brought Memorial Gymnasium back to being lively again and back to, a competitive brand of men's basketball. And, if they can sustain it in football, and a lot hinges on the Jared Curtis kid, which I'm not sure because he's a freshman. And those were big accusations that Mike just said about 41 years he's been in this city, and he thinks he's the best quarterback ever to play around there. And he thinks he'll go down as being the best. Well, he did play at a smaller school. And I watched him play, and I did his game a couple of years ago when he won a state championship. He won 2 in a row at Nashville Christian. And he's got obviously a Vanderbilt guy in Jeff Brothers who played at Vanderbilt. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays out. I don't understand how you can hand the keys to a freshman. But it seems like they've done that. They've given him money. They've got him set up. And now all he's got to do is go out and prove himself. And if he can do it, anything like Diego Pavia did, Vanderbilt's been in a good spot. And I don't know if I can agree with that because the Tennessee folks are upset right now, as Parker will tell you. But this year, Vanderbilt is on top of that rivalry, and it's been, I don't know if it's ever happened like it's happened. Being 9-1 in the major sports, George. That's pretty incredible. What Candace Lee and Clark Lee and Mark Byington and Shay Ralph and Tim Corbin, that's pretty amazing what they've done so far against UT. And I don't know if that's ever happened.
Well, I can tell you, in my lifetime, it hasn't.
Hasn't happened in mine before either. And to answer your question, Kelly, about Jared Curtis, he may not be ready as a true freshman, Having played in his division, I understand that level of competition is certainly far from what you're going to get in the SEC. But you're not going to start Blaze Berlowitz. So they don't really have another option. They didn't get another guy in the portal. I did want to get to something because there's a critical detail that we missed in all of this. Thank you, News and Traffic. Tony is changing the terms on his bet. He said last Thursday Parker had to wear the shirt, but he'd pay. Go pull the tape.
Well, we've changed it. We've changed it.
Oh, no.
News and Traffic we've changed it.
You weren't there for the show. You know what? News and Traffic's jogging my memory here.
No, is that right? Well, we've changed it. You need to pay, Parker.
You cheapskate.
All that money George is paying you, man. He's making you wealthy, dog. I mean, you're at 102.52. I mean, you've got money. Let's go. I mean, 4 cups of Mama's pancake breakfast and let's go.
Absolutely. And don't bring us a bunch of McDonald's coupons.
All getting waters.
Okay, when we start the 4 o'clock hour, the new Belmont basketball coach, Evan Bradds, is going to join us. And look, I don't make any secret of my bias here. As I said at the beginning of the show, when I went to work there, probably the first 2 athletes that I really came in contact with were Evan Bradds and Taylor Barnett. They were both seniors. And I remember meeting both of them. They were doing like a photo day on a Sunday. And anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun for me to watch how this all plays out. He is the one that I would have hired, and he's the one they did hire. His resume has some big-time names on it. He will join us after the break on the George Plaster Show.
It's opening week, Nashville, and your Nashville Sounds return to First Horizon Park. Head out to the ballpark this week as the Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights with a full week of fun promotions, great food, and post-game fireworks. We'll see you at the ballpark. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Catch the biggest golf tournament of the year at 5 Iron Golf. Join us April 9th and 10th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for live broadcasts with the game all day long. Enjoy great food, golf, prizes, and more with fellow fans from start to finish. Don't miss it. Only at 5 Iron Golf.
Announcing an event for everyone who has been thinking about adopting a lovable little puppy. This is your opportunity to adopt a puppy, and Pella Windows and Doors will cover all your adoption fees and the first immunizations. Join us Friday, April 10th at the Pella Windows and Doors in Hendersonville on East Main Street. The event is from 4 to 6, and you can pick out your adorable new puppy on site from the Nashville Humane Association. That's Friday, April 10th at the Pella Windows and Doors in Hendersonville. See you there.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. For 26 years, Christy has worked here at Cromwell Media in sales and marketing. She's now fundraising for Blood Cancer United, and this week she's sharing something many women quietly experience during treatment. Christy?
Well, losing my hair was harder than I expected. For women, hair is our identity. It's confidence. It's part of how we show up in the world. It wasn't just a physical change. It was emotional. And you can hide a diagnosis, but you can't hide bald.
I imagine there were some interesting looks along the way.
Oh, yeah. The maybe it's not that bad stage. The okay, it's that bad stage. The let's just embrace it stage. Ugh. I actually have lots of pictures of my hair, or lack thereof, on sissystrong.com. And yes, some of them are very humbling. Here's the thing. Support matters just as much as research. Blood Cancer United funds both. I'm hoping to raise $50,000 to help someone else get through their own hair journey.
So how can we help?
Visit sissystrong.com to donate, see the raffle items, and check out the photos. Be strong.
For the love of the climb. For the love of the fall. For the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Red's Hot Chicken. Red's Hot Chicken is a family-owned Nashville gem serving up crispy, juicy hot chicken with serious flavor right on West End next to Centennial Park. From their legendary hot chicken and waffles to the hot chicken mac and cheese crunch wrap, Red's brings the heat with heart. And this week, it's Nashville's best deal. Get a $30 gift card for $15 while supplies last at 949thefam.com/deals. Red's Hot Chicken, where flavor hits different.
Spring is here, and as the weather heats up, the sports action heats up at Circus Sports Kentucky. From baseball to basketball, hockey to golf, Circus Sports has it all. Circus Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High limits, player-friendly pricing, and enhanced in-game options. Whether you're looking for playoff futures or props on your favorite players and more, Circus Sports has you covered. And don't forget to visit Kentucky's largest sports book, Circus Sportsbook, located at the Mint Kentucky Downs. Download the Circus Sports Kentucky app or visit circusports.com today. Must be 18 or older and located in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's almost 420, and Sheba Hut on Donaldson Pike is throwing an all-day party you don't want to miss. Join the celebration Monday, April 20th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with music all day long. Randy Spencer from DJ Nashville kicks things off, spinning tunes from 11 to 3. Then the Nick Johnson Band takes the stage live from 4 to 10 p.m. Enjoy 420 domestic drafts, mix and match 4 for 20 beer buckets, games, and good vibes all day. Plus, The Buzz will be on site. Sheba Hut on Donaldson Pike. Subs, drinks, music, and a family-friendly 420 celebration.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. Who was the player that hit a two-run home run in the championship game of the World Baseball Classic this year?
Oh,
Good luck,
gosh.
George.
Kelly, I ought to know this.
I have no shot.
Who did the United States play? Wasn't Japan.
This year is Venezuela.
Venezuela was the
Venezuela. Goodness gracious. I don't know.
Hold on, was it? Oh yeah, I don't know, man. Two-run home run in the championship game of the world. Well,
That
I mean,
is
was it
absolutely awful?
Was it on the American team or was it on the
Oh, no,
Venezuelan team, George?
It was on the Venezuelan team.
Oh,
They
it
won the
was.
game in kind of an upset, and I don't know. So go ahead, put the answer up.
I'm very
there.
surprised.
I'm surprised too because this is one out.
I'm not
nailed.
shocked from Kelly, but Bryce Harper, bottom of the eighth.
Oh,
tied
that's
up.
right. He sure
See, I was
did.
going to say,
and then-
I was going to say Aaron Judge.
Well, and then the U.S. didn't win it.
Correct.
Relief pitching. Garrett Whitlock from the Red Sox had to pitch the ninth inning instead of Mason Miller. Mark DeRosa had made a promise to the San Diego Padres that Mason Miller would not pitch the ninth inning of the title game unless they were in the lead. Thus, Garrett Whitlock, thus the Bryce Harper two-run homer to tie the game in the bottom of the eighth went for naught.
Yep.
Okay. This is something that I've been looking forward to. Evan Brads and I have been friends now for about 10 years. Knew him at the end of a very good playing career at Belmont. He nor I could have ever dreamed that 10 years later he would be the head coach at his alma mater. But he joins us by way of Zoom or whatever those things are. Evan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing?
Good. So were you caught off guard today by that crowd? A ton of your friends a ton of former players. Man, that had to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, I was caught off guard by you were one of the first people I saw, so I appreciate you coming, man. That means the world to me. But no, you're exactly right. You know, I had some teammates drive some pretty far distances to be there. You know, my best friend from high school drove down last night just to show up for, that. It means the world to me. I think it shows the type of people and the type of players that we've had in this program for a long time.
Kelly, actually, what he was shocked about was I was in a really good-looking sport coat.
And we're all shocked at that, George.
Yeah, oh, man, yeah.
You stay out of that, Parker. So talk to me about the meeting that got brought up today where Scott Corley and the school president come to Durham after you all win the ACC postseason tournament. What was that meeting like for you? And given all the Duke duties, what level of prep could you do?
Yeah, it was the timing was weird because, when the job came open, we had just played Florida State the same night, I think. We were prepping for Clemson, so my mind was really just focused on Clemson, and then, things moved quickly in this. We fortunate enough to win the ACC tournament and then meeting with Scott and Dr. Jones quickly back in Durham. The meeting was incredible. You see, the passion that they both have for Belmont University, the students, and the student athletes. It was, something that I'm really aligned with. We all shared that same passion and commitment to the university. And to be honest with you, we talked ball for, 2.5 hours. It was awesome to hear their thoughts on where this program should go and where it can go. Hopefully, that all those aligned at the same time. Prep wise for it, I didn't have a whole lot of time because I was prepping for, Clemson and then Virginia at the same time. So, it was just kind of went in just trying to be myself. I've been fortunate to know both of those guys in some respect and some capacity before. So it was very conversational. It was a great time.
Evan, I remember at your age how proud I was to be able to put C.M. Newton at the very front of my reference list on a resume. And I've talked about this a couple of times with these guys. You can put John Shire. You can put Rick Byrd. You can put Brad Stevens. You can probably put Coach K, although I don't know that. You can put Will Hardy, the head coach of the Utah Jazz. When you look back on this, it's really remarkable the door that Rick Byrd helped open for you.
You're breaking up, Plas. I can't hear you.
Okay, let's try it again.
No, I got you now. Yeah, I mean, you talk about it playing for Coach Byrd for 4 years. He gave me this opportunity to be a basketball player here at Belmont, and I meant what I said today when I said that I wouldn't be here without him. The opportunity he gave me was a once in a lifetime chance, and I was very fortunate for him. All those people that you just mentioned, whether it's Brad or Will or John, whoever it is, they've spent so much time with me, invested so much time with me. They've helped make me the coach that I am today. Forever grateful is a term I've used a lot today, and I am forever grateful to them.
Evan, I want you to give me kind of a capsule comment on 3 or 4 people that all of us know in sports as being people who have really achieved at the highest level, but we don't know them. Let's start with Brad Stevens, who has this golden boy image that anything he touches turns to gold.
Yeah, I mean, Brad's probably the most prepared coach I've ever worked for. His game-to-game prep was incredible. It's something that I've learned from him and something that I plan on taking with me.
Will Hardy in Utah.
Yeah, Will's forward-thinking mind, not afraid to think outside the box. Something that I really, truly enjoyed learning from him for 3 years. Think differently about the game, how to put your players in the best position was something that I'm for sure stealing from him.
Yeah, and of course, last but not least, maybe not last but not least, John Shire, who has had an early run in a job replacing the legend. And, until Sunday, it's all gone perfect.
Yeah, the his everyday competitiveness. I compare him to a Coach Bird level of competitor. He was obviously like that as a player, and he's taken that to how he coaches the game. Similar to Brad, he's one of the most prepared coaches I've ever been around. Nothing goes unturned with him.
Tell me, and I haven't been able to ask you this, how much contact did you have with Mike Krzyzewski?
Yeah, so Coach K, got to see him a lot around the campus. I think the first time we ever spoke, I had just gotten to campus. We talked about Coach Bird, and he gave a lot of praise to Coach Bird, how much he respected him in the Belmont program. Saw him a lot in the elevators at the office. Got to talk a little bit here and there. Obviously, he was at a lot of our games, and obviously, he's a big supporter.
Okay, we're talking with the new basketball coach at Belmont, Evan Brads. That's Kelly Holcomb, former NFL quarterback, who you're about to talk to. Kelly, take it from there.
Evan, my apologies for you knowing George. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened over the years. I tell everybody that, man. My apologies. Sorry
I
about
appreciate that. Same goes back to you.
Yeah, both of you could shove it.
So let me ask you this. I've always wondered this. When Scott Corley called you, or how that happened, when he offered you the job, what went through your mind? What were your first thoughts? I want to know from a guy who's never been a head coach, but like what went through your mind? Did your mind just start racing about all the things that you had to do?
No, you kind of just described it right there, to be honest with you. When he first called me about even talking about the job, I was just extremely pumped to even have a chance to interview. Never in my life would I've thought that this would have happened this quickly. And when he did offer me the job, you said it. My mind started racing about a million miles an hour. Who are we going to hire? What's our team going to look like? What's the Valley look like? I know it's super competitive, but I've never coached in the Valley, so a million things going through my mind, but there was a level of excitement. I remember we were in Greenville for the first round of the NCAA tournament. So I was with my wife, and of course it just added a ton more stress to her life, of course. So I feel bad for that part for sure. But, there's just a level of excitement in which I have for being here.
Have you finished your coaching search for all your assistants?
Yeah, working on it right now. We're finishing up, waiting for a couple more responses, and we'll see where we go. But obviously, Coach Ayers is staying around. He's very important to me. He recruited me out of high school and coached me for 4 years here. So, trusted advisor, just in life and as a coach. And there's no one better to be on my staff. And, we're finalizing it as we speak.
Is it guys that you go to guys that you've had contact with? Do you know them? Like, because sometimes guys hire friends, man, and sometimes that just doesn't turn out. So how does that go about in how you evaluate and how you're trying to hire these guys?
Yeah, like obviously Coach Ayers, he's been here for 29 years,
Right.
29, I think. So like that resume speaks for itself, right? A lot of the guys that I've gone with are people that have even become very highly recommended to me, that I met on the recruiting trail, who I've had conversations with, who other people I know that are mutual connections. Then a lot of it too is just, getting on the phone, for a couple times with these guys and really just feeling them out as people, making sure they're the right fit for Belmont University. And then just, talking hoops, to be honest with you, what their philosophies are, offense, defense, when it comes to recruiting and roster management. It's something I care about. And, so far the conversations have been great. And I think the staff is, rounding out in a great way.
We had Eddie George on the show when he took the Bowling Green job. He left TSU and he went to Bowling Green, and that's his home state. He went at he's at Ohio State, and obviously won a Heisman Trophy. And people's ask me all the time. There's like, when Peyton retired, Peyton's going back to Tennessee, and I'm like, why would he go back to Tennessee? So that's what I'm asking you. Do you feel pressure kind of going back to Belmont because, and I'm not saying, hey, George talks highly of you, you're going to be successful. But, do you ever worry about that because of this new landscape in college sports, about how it's going? But, the pressure, do you feel the pressure going back to your alma mater?
Oh, for sure. The pressure is there. I think no matter where you are a head coach, being a head coach is a lot of responsibility. It's an incredible opportunity that I'm thankful for, but I do know that it comes with a lot, and pressure is one of them. We have a standard here at Belmont that I want to continue to uphold. So yeah, there is some pressure, but I've never really been one to run away from it. Rather just hit it head on instead of speeding away from it. And yeah, we hear about the changes in college basketball or college athletics as a whole. We hear about it all the time. It seems like something is always happening, but again, I'd rather be at the forefront and try to stay ahead of the change and roll with the change than be against it and fight what is probably never going to, change.
So being in the NBA, how do you think being in the NBA will help you with this new college landscape of NIL? Will that help you any? Because it's totally changed, and we talk about it all the time on our show. But it's a different landscape in college basketball from when I played, especially when you played. Guys are getting paid now, and that's a big thing. So how did the NBA kind of get you prepared for that, or did it?
Yeah, no, I mean it is night and day, right? I mean even I'm coming up on 10 years of being out, and it's a 180, right? But yeah, so I mean, being in the NBA, I think the main reason where it helped me was spending time with the front office members. I was never on that side of the professional sport, but you just sit with them and you learn about how they view roster construction, how they make team fits within a certain budget. It's kind of how I view it here. Everyone has a certain level at which they can go, and they have to make it work. And I think just listening to some of the the minds, whether in Boston or in Utah, will really help me when it comes to constructing a roster.
My last question here, and this is the reality of it. Even the guy that preceded you, Casey Alexander, talked about it. But being at Belmont, being in a mid-major college, when you put all your time and effort into recruiting a young man, and you spend a whole year with him and have a great relationship with him, and then he has a great year, and then he leaves for greener pastures. How will you handle that? Will you be okay with that? How does that go?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those challenges that it's almost not even worth a fight, in my opinion. I view it like if a kid gets better and has a better opportunity for him and his family, who am I to tell him that he shouldn't go to take that opportunity?
Right.
If my job is to help this kid get better while he's at a university, Belmont University, and he does get better and he succeeds, it means we probably had a pretty good year too. So there's team success along with that individual success. And again, if I sit up here and say that, at my core, I believe in individual development, how am I supposed to not let this kid go play, or not let him go play, but how am I not going to be happy for him when he gets an opportunity that could potentially make him a better player? So again, that's one of those challenges that we do face, but I view it as almost more of a success story than let's just get mad at this kid for leaving and going somewhere else. It's the world we live in. Every level has their own challenges. P4 has their challenges with other P4s trying to take their players. It's
Right.
The way the world works. It goes up, it goes down, and side to side. So I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to head it head on. At the end of the day, my job is to do what's best for these student athletes, and if that means them leaving somewhere else, even though it may hurt our team, I'll obviously be upset in some sense, but you can't take it personal, and I don't want to be mad at an 18-year-old kid for trying to do what's best for him and his family.
Evan, this is Parker Kelly. My guess is you might have some advice for him on what it would be like to work with me, because like you, he's a little younger.
So I guess we could start there. Evan, do you have any advice for me with working with George?
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck. Not the first person that's told me that.
Yeah.
Wow. I shouldn't have worn the sport coat.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
George has great stories. I always appreciated hearing George's stories. He's a great storyteller.
He told me one on the way in here.
And
so
he will always be, spent. What was that 1 year, George? We spent together. And you know what? It was a great year, and I know that if I ever needed something down here in Nashville, I could call George. So you will have some times where you're thinking about what I said, good luck, but at the end of the day, you'll have a trusted friend that you know you can always count on.
I'm sure this has been a whirlwind process for you, and whether it's Coach Shire or Coach Brad Stevens or Rick Bird, what's the best piece of advice that you've received now that you're the head coach at Belmont?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, those guys being trusted advisors, those are my some people that I look up to. At the end of the day, they just tell me to be myself, and that players will want to come play here and just do my best in helping them get better. They've been incredible during this journey. It's something I can't wait to get going.
So we hear all this talk about how NIL has affected the sport, and with March Madness going on right now, right? The conversation is the death of the Cinderella. Is the Cinderella dead? In terms of how NIL has impacted the game, do you see it as more of a positive or negative?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can. I mean, depending on who you are, you go either way. I view it as a positive, to be honest with you. I try to put myself in these kids' shoes every day, and whether you like it or not, it's the way the world is. For a 19-year-old kid to make X amount of dollars that may help him set himself up for the future by playing basketball, who am I to say that's a bad thing? It comes with its challenges, it comes with its problems, but again, if I sit here and tell you I want what's best for the student athlete, and if sometimes money helps that in the long run, then so be it. I view it as a positive thing overall.
How will you approach recruiting? Because you hear all these stories. I've heard Rick Barnes tell stories, going into the portal makes recruiting for him a lot easier. And some coaches have described it as transactional, not saying that you're going to view it that way, but what kind of approach will you take to recruiting in this new age of the transfer portal?
Yeah, so I think no matter what, whether it's high school players, transfer portal players, whatever it is, you still recruit the people first before the player. I think that's what Belmont has done incredibly well for forever, I guess, since Coach Bird was here. The players have been talented, but they've been better people first. So I think you start with the people, make sure that they're the right fit, and then you just work your way up and get to know them, and hopefully you make a decision and they make a decision that they want to come to Belmont.
And Belmont has had a lot of success. You just came from one of the bluest of blue bloods in Duke, but Belmont being a mid-major has still had a lot of success, and guys have gone from Belmont to the power programs and had success, whether that's guys like Malik Dia, Jacoby Gillespie, all those guys like that. But how will you describe to these recruits that Belmont can still be a destination for them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you saw it. Those guys you just named, a lot of individual success, right? There's no question about that. We've done it where we've done a lot of different ways. You think about the guys you named, the Will Richards, the Malik Diaz, they had incredible individual success here. So did guys like Dylan Windler, so did guys like Ben Shepard, so did guys like Ian Clark. They all did it their own individual way, and there's all different ways that you can do it. So for me, it is a place where you can grow. It's a place where we can develop. It's a place where you're going to enjoy your college experience here. Living in the city of Nashville, going to Belmont University is a place where you're going to come and enjoy your time while also focusing on basketball, getting better as an individual. And, we all know that better players make better teams, right? So even with their individual success, generally the teams have a lot of success. And it goes back to the foundation of this program and this tradition has been the players that have been here.
Evan, you know how excited I am for what has gone on. First of all, thank you for taking the time to come on today. And I know if there's something you need, you just reach out. I'll do what I can to help you.
I appreciate it, man. It means the world that you came out here today, so I really do appreciate you.
Well, I'm awfully proud of you. Take care, Evan.
Yep, sounds good. Talk soon.
Soon.
Thank you, guys.
Got to be the happiest man in Nashville sports, the newly named head basketball coach at Belmont University, Evan Brads. After the break, we will meet with the second happiest Nashville sports personality. That Sounds general manager Adam English. You say, why? It's 78 degrees. It's good for business. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
We are back on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. First Horizon Park, home of the Nashville Sounds. It's about 78 degrees right now. They play Charlotte tonight at 6:35. So I mentioned earlier, happiest man going is Evan Bradds, the new Belmont basketball coach, and rightfully so. But the second happiest man should be Sounds general manager Adam English. There's no way you could have plotted this weather out for your opening weekend.
I mean, it was beautiful. Last night was about as perfect a night as you could kick off some home baseball right here in Hit City. It was an electric crowd, great Sounds win, just 10 out of 10. Just nothing we could ask for better. And this week, we got another beautiful night tonight. So much going on at the ballpark. We've got to give away to the first 1,000 fans a really cool poster with our schedule on it that you can kind of tear off the bottom of the schedule and keep that somewhere, a la, a 1990s concert poster. A little nostalgia out there tonight. So, and just so much more fun packed into the weekend. So we hope everybody comes back out tonight. The boys look great on the field. And we're just excited to welcome fans back here. I mean, it's opening day, it's opening week, and that's a special thing in baseball. And we want to make sure that, we treat our fans. When we see our fans coming back in the stadium, there's just nothing better.
I'm told you had a great walk-up last night.
We did.
Proving that weather does matter.
Yeah, I mean, in outdoor sports, I mean, again, like in my 5 years here in Nashville, we've, rained out opening night due to severe weather. We've had 40 degrees. You just never, everybody who lives here, it's, you don't like the forecast way today. And so we felt like we were owed some good weather by Mother Nature, and she came through for us last night and came through for us again today. And we'll take all we can get.
One of the things I really appreciate, because we spent 30 years in this city debating a new ballpark for the Sounds. I mean, from day one of my sports talk life, it was on the front burner. Okay, it finally happens in 14. Here we are in 2026, and it still looks new.
That's a credit to our owner and our team here. I mean, we have a great partners with the Sports Authority. They own this facility. But we put money back into it every year, and we have a standard. We want this place to look like it's best in class. And I'd put our stadium and our team and our staff up against anybody. We go through every inch of this ballpark every single offseason. We look at ways we can improve it for fans and maintain it to look like a brand new stadium. And we're just really proud of it. We wouldn't accept anything less.
Tell me this. One of the things I have really liked with you guys, and it's not just because they've been a sponsor of my show. I'm a baseball fan. I go to a lot of different parks. I see a lot of different things. It feels like under you that you all get in a room with some sort of a whiteboard and you kind of say, okay, no idea is stupid. Let's talk about them.
I mean, you're absolutely right. We do. We have incredible creative people, and we do get in rooms often and talk through. I think the only ideas that are ever bad are the ones you don't commit 100% to. So we go through all the ideas and we say, all right, if we're going to do this giveaway, this theme night, this idea, we're going to do it 100%. We're going to commit to it, every aspect of our stadium. If you look at the details when you come out here on a theme night, there is that theme is woven into the video board. This year, we're introducing some specialty food items that tie into theme nights. Our giveaways tie into the theme nights. We really just kind of want to do everything full circle. And we think we owe that to the fans to be 100% committed to those things. And thankfully, in my time here, the fans respond to that. And we never want to take that for granted. And we want to make sure we put our best foot forward every single time.
It feels like it is extended way past normal. A new ballpark honeymoon.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's market to market that's different, and Nashville's got incredible sports fans. And again, it's also a credit to our owner, Frank Ward. He empowers us to invest in new things. We added the wiffle ball field a couple of years ago. We have brand new furniture at the bandbox for this year. We blew out a wall in between suites 3 and 4 this year, so larger groups can experience our club suites up here on the suite level. So we're always trying to invent new things. Again, with the themes, with the look of the team, we want it to be something where people go, hey, we need to come check out the bandbox. We need to come check out what's new at First Horizon Park. And I think that the other aspect of that is we've had a $10 get in the door ticket for 12 years in this stadium. And really this off season, one of the philosophies we talked a lot about was how do we add value without increasing price? We are affordable family fun. On tomorrow night, for example, we added a $4 bratwurst to tie into our Thirsty Thursday, our Throwback Thursdays that we do. We want there to be affordable food options at our stadium. We want it to not break the bank because at the core of who we are as minor league baseball is we're affordable family fun. We want there to be something for everybody out here.
You all are at basically the top of the minor league baseball food chain right now. How many people reach out to you to say, can we pick your brain? What are you all doing right?
Well, we certainly get those calls. But I think my favorite thing about minor league baseball is how collaborative it is. So we not only receive those calls, but we make those calls. There are a bunch of teams that run really first-class organizations in minor league baseball and operations. And when we see success somewhere else, we want to know how we can make it Nashville. And equally so, we get calls from people that say, hey, you guys are doing something right. How do you do this or how do you do that? And we're happy to share it because although we compete with them, we want to be number one in attendance. We want to be the gold standard of minor league baseball. But we don't directly compete with them. No one. We're not competing from. Well, they're choosing to go to their game or our game. So that's one of the reasons this industry is so collaborative. And credit Major League Baseball. Since they took over the operation of minor league baseball, we've gotten additional resources. We've gotten more support from them, and so we're happy with the trajectory we're on right now.
I know this one's hard to quantify, but we've just come off a WBC baseball classic that blew away our wildest dreams on television. Even though the United States didn't win it, boy, it felt when it was over like it was really good for the game of baseball. Are you feeling that at all?
I think I am. I mean, I was talking with so many fans last night that came out and said, man, we've been itching to come out to a baseball game. And there's no doubt that the World Baseball Classic set up some of that excitement. It was electric in the game against the Dominican Republic. I was glad that we weren't using ABS on that last pitch from Mason Miller. But the introduction of ABS, we've been dealing with that down here for the last 3 years. It's fantastic.
Seamlessly.
It's fantastic. And again, the idea is not to challenge every pitch, but it's to make sure we get the big ones right. When they matter the most, we don't want a missed call. And also, I mean, look, credit to the umpires. These guys are throwing 100 miles an hour. There might be a call of return that they missed by less than a quarter of an inch. Like it's not an easy job they have. And so, using technology, I heard someone say the other day on a different radio show, we might very well look back in 25 years and say, we expected humans to get this right all the time. How did we ever expect that to happen?
Right.
But yeah, to your original question, there's no doubt that the World Baseball Classic, I think, kind of primed the pump for people to be really excited about baseball this year, because you could see it on those players' face how much it meant to them to play for their country. And I hope that that's a precursor not only to future baseball classics, but I'm glad I don't have to figure out how they do it. But I'd love to see that in the Olympics as well.
We all would.
It would really be a lot of fun. And look what it did for hockey and so many other sports. But there is something special about playing with the name of your country across your chest.
MLB's caught a lot of flack, and at times it's deserved. But I think they have used minor league baseball as a testing ground for some things, and we're seeing the benefits of it in this instant replay because the decisions come out in 10, 15 seconds. Is there anything on the horizon this year that MLB will use the minor leagues for?
Yeah, they're continuing to, test some things with the bases. I think there was an article that came out right before the season in Baseball America that the second half of our season, they're going to mess with, not only the size of second base, but the location of it. Because ultimately what fans want to see, I mean, Greg Jones last night hit a bases clearing triple. And it's the stolen bases, the triples, the action-packed plays that fans want to see more. And to your credit, exactly what you said. Major League Baseball is using minor league baseball as a testing ground for these things so that they're not introduced. We're not working out the bugs in games that could decide someone's playoff hopes at the major league level.
Right.
And so they also listen to feedback from players. They listen to feedback from us. Hey, how did this work for you guys? So I think they're doing that really well. And they're also doing it purposefully, and they're not rushing these ideas through. So, they tested ABS with us for 3 years before they introduced it to Major League Baseball. They could have tried it a year and said, hey, this is what we're going to go with. They're really intentional because they care about the integrity of the game. And they know that baseball purists are very critical of changes to America's pastime. So, I think you hit it right on the head. They're doing great stuff, and it'll be interesting to see how this continues to develop.
Okay, let's get to the question that you probably thought would come out a lot earlier. Have you ever, when you all sit down and brainstorm, have you ever said, Kentucky basketball night at First Horizon?
That's never come up.
What are you waiting on?
Man, I love my Cats. We had a tough end of the year. But, look, I'm a person who recognizes the market I'm in, and I'm not going to fight against our fans. There's a lot of Rocky Top played out here, and that's just fine.
Maybe you can get Tennessee on one side.
There we go.
Kentucky on the other.
I'd love to see a Tennessee versus Kentucky baseball game here. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, nice. I like where you're going with it.
I don't know if the SEC will let that happen.
You know what? All you can do is ask.
That's right.
All they can do is say no. The field looks beautiful. Man, it could not look better. I don't know who gets the credit. You do. The field looks. Let me just show people how good this field looks. Okay, there you see it. It looks beautiful.
We have the best grounds crew in the business, headed by Thomas Trotter, and they, I mean, what they do. I mean, you also have to remember that this field was under a block of ice for a week, a month and a half ago, or 2 months ago, or whatever it was.
Kind of like my backyard.
And like everybody's everything, right? Like trees, backyard, everything. And we were so lucky during the ice storm, and we have a great crew, and yeah, I'm just so proud. And our team is so proud to step foot in front of these great fans in Nashville every single night.
Thanks for coming over here. You have been a good friend to this show and a good friend to me, and I'm thrilled for the start you all are off to.
Me too. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
Always happy to be here with you.
Adam English is the Nashville Sounds general manager, and I'm telling you, he is good at what he does. Stay tuned. More of the George Plaster Show coming up next. Stay with us.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Music City Rugby Shootout brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity. Hear the hits. Experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of professional rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park. Get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Social in Green Hills Mall.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are here for what is the final segment of the show on a beautiful afternoon. Man, in trying to think this through on April Fool's Day, and happy April Fools to all of you. Kelly, I never dreamed we'd be sitting out here in 78, 79 degree weather wearing shorts. Not bad.
I think it was it last year, George, that you and Billy almost got blown away by the wind.
Oh my God. Froze. And
it's freezing too, right?
Yeah. By the way, Adam English, one of the really good young general manager types on the minor league level. Someday after I'm long gone, he'll be working for a major league team. Remember I said that.
Yeah. I met him at the golf. I met him at a golf tournament. Man, he's personable, man. That's why he is where he is right now. And I think you're right.
I think they do a really good job. And I've never sat in on one of these sessions where they get in a room as a staff and start putting stuff on, on a blackboard, whiteboard, whatever, and say, okay, is this a viable possibility? I think they come up with some great stuff. That bandbox out there. And in fact, I'm going to show people what we're talking about under the
there we go, George.
term. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, this is not real
That's some
professional.
good camera work right there.
Yeah, but over in that right corner is the bandbox. And the truth of it is, I can remember when Frank Ward, who owns this thing, told me that it was his son's idea. And he thought it was a stupid idea, and it has turned out, and I probably would have thought it too, it has turned out to be an incredibly popular piece of this new ballpark. And when I say new, it shocks me. It's now 12 years old. It's in terrific shape
doesn't
for
look
12 years old. No, it doesn't. And I think that's a credit to Adam and his staff. Excuse my camera work. That's basically that.
George is 12 years old already.
Yeah. And
that's amazing.
I think they have been really good stewards of this city's money. And I think that's a really important thing that I have harped on over the years. You've heard me talk about and praise the ones that I think have been good stewards. I mean, you've heard me trash one organization that I didn't think was very good stewards of the city's money at all.
We won't get into specifics, will we?
No, I don't care. I've made no secret of what
That's
I
true.
think. So anyway, this is a wonderful thing that we've got. This is a very popular deal. You come out here most weekends, Kelly, they're anywhere from 8 to 10,000, anywhere from Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. It's pretty amazing.
George, I got a question, man. We've talked to Danny Evans at length about this, and I think you probably know where I'm going. But at some point, they're going to have an expansion of Major League Baseball, and we all think that Nashville is going to be one of the players, if not one of the key players in it. What happens to the Nashville Sounds if a Major League ball club comes to town?
The likelihood is that the franchise rights, and I don't know all the machinery of it, ultimately would get sold to another city, or the ownership here would move the Nashville Sounds. I hesitate to make up a city. Let's say Evansville might be one of those kind of cities where all of a sudden they would become a AAA city. Look, we're a long ways, and to be honest, I'm discouraged right now. I'm discouraged on a couple of fronts. The first one being, I think the strike that is likely to happen in 2027 is going to push back all this expansion stuff, all the talk about it. Secondly, our city's not ready. First of all, at the moment, we don't have an owner saying, I'm the one that's going to foot the bill. I'm the one that's going to be it. I have thought from time to time that Bill Haslam might be that person, but I certainly don't have anything to say, okay, it's him. So if it's not him, because I don't see anybody else locally that would step up, is MLB willing to place somebody from outside of this city into an ownership here? It's happened before. Craig Leopold, toward the Milwaukee area, was the first owner of the Predators. So, I mean, it's certainly happened in the past. I think the more discouraging thing to me is listening to Mayor O'Connell. And I get the fact our city, after building the Dome Stadium, is tapped out monetarily.
Right.
But there are any number of things city government can do that can help this cause. And I don't hear him saying any of those.
Okay, so two things. That brings me to two things. So if a
Okay.
Major League Ball club does come to the city, could they keep the Nashville Sounds around and make
That
them one
was
of
what
their?
I was going to ask.
Yeah, make them one of their farm systems. Could that happen?
You could have both, right?
It's unlikely. Look, there
Really?
are a couple of places where it's happened. Atlanta with Gwinnett, which is basically a suburb, where that has happened. There are a couple of others, but they're in huge markets. The belief that you could pull off both, I think, is a little bit unrealistic.
What about the framework that they have for this current stadium? If the Nashville Sounds were to move, could you just build upon what you already have here?
I'm told the answer is no. And maybe back then we should have thought a little more about it. But I get it. I mean, this had been a political football here for as long as I had been a sports talk show host, going back to the late 80s. Will we ever replace Greer Stadium? And so when Mayor Dean stepped up to do this, that was 2013, opening in 2014. And I think there was more of an interest in just getting a minor league ballpark built. Then Major League Baseball announces, hey, we intend to expand. I mean, I think the belief that MLB will expand before Rob Manfred's tenure is over, I now think it's a pipe dream, because I think we are headed toward a nasty labor negotiation. I don't see anything, Kelly, that makes me think they're going to get this thing solved. I think it's going to be ugly. I think for all the positives that are going on right now, you want to put a you-know-what in the punch bowl, that's the scenario. Give the public a protracted labor problem where millionaires are fighting with billionaires. People don't appreciate that.
No, and I think you're right. And what is okay, so my whole deal is they would have to have plans for this with the new Dome Stadium that the Titans are getting, but is there a way that, maybe a Major League Ball club, and I know that's not going to ever happen, but is there a way that we could reconfigure that maybe and get a baseball team into that Dome Stadium? I'm sure that's not ever going to happen. I get that. But, could that happen?
No. I think that day and time is over.
Right.
In the 60s and the 70s, you had what were called the cookie cutters.
Right.
Atlanta Stadium housed the Braves and the Falcons.
Falcons, right.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis housed the baseball and the football Cardinals. Riverfront in Cincinnati housed the Reds and the Bengals.
And the Bengals, yeah.
It just doesn't happen anymore. Now, should it? Probably. But I think that day and time has come and gone.
Okay, and on the labor dispute, what do you think are the key things that we're heading towards because of what in Major League Baseball that they're going to have a lockout?
The owners want a salary cap, and they have the public support for that. The public that cares about baseball sees the Dodgers as sort of the behemoth right now. And if the Dodgers were to win a third world title in a row, it will only fuel that kind of talk. that the Royals and the Marlins and the Brewers and the whoever cannot win in that system when their payroll is $350,000 to $400,000 less than the Dodgers. This is where Danny and I disagree. Danny likes to point out that the Dodgers make better decisions, and maybe they do. But the Atlanta Braves over the years have made pretty damn good decisions too. And oh, by the way, they have won a world title during all of this, but it's getting harder and harder. Here's what I would do. Okay. If I'm the owners and the players want to play hardball, okay, the poster child to me that I would be using to get the public on my side is Jurickson Profar, 2-time druggie with the Atlanta Braves. Okay, the way things are written right now, the Braves are on the hook next year for $14 to $15 million for a 2-time drug offender. The Braves ought to have the right to tell Jurickson Profar to jump in the Chattahoochee. I mean, he's
jumping the Chattahoochee.
He's a disgrace to baseball. He has forfeited the right, in my opinion, to wear an Atlanta Braves uniform. He's screwed over his teammates who, you know, I hate to say this, I wish one or two of them would come out and rip him.
Well,
That's
I've
what
told
Frank
you that before,
said
George.
his
People
would have done, right?
Yeah, but people nowadays are it's the company line, man. They don't want to step on toes. And, you know, you don't have the Charles Barkleys who gets on there. Charles Barkley's back in the day, or the Larry Bird. You remember when Larry Bird was in those finals and they stuck a camera and a mic in his face and he was like, we just played like women tonight. I mean, it's just that you don't have that anymore. Nobody's going to say that.
To me, what the owners ought to be pounding is if you are a 2-time drug offender, the team that holds your contract can null and void it.
Right. I agree. Totally.
And I think
agree.
The Titans had that in there with L'Jarius Sneed, I believe. If he were to have gotten convicted of that crime.
Yeah, but the whole
void
the whole football system's totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, football, the players have allowed the teams to dump them at the drop of a hat. Baseball's union has been way, way stronger. And thus, baseball doesn't have that. And so while the players are belly aching about a salary cap, when these negotiations really start, the owners need to hold up a poster of Jurickson Profar and just say 2-time druggies are no longer wanted in this sport.
He already had his second chance. We don't need a third, right, George?
Well, they shouldn't be on the hook for it. If he wants to re-sign with them for the league minimum, so be it.
I
but
agree.
14 to 15 million after how he's behaved, no way.
Yeah. Jump in the Chattahoochee, by the way, that's the sequel to Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson.
Jump in the do we have review of last night's victory?
We don't have to do it, right?
No, I think we do. Looky there, Kelly.
George, you're tearing up the NBA right now, dog.
Houston bombed the Knicks. And Reed Shepherd, who I will admit I didn't think could play at that level, was brilliant last night. Now, he hadn't been brilliant all along, but when he's really good, the Rockets get a whole lot better because all of a sudden you got to guard him and out on that perimeter, and it leaves people like Kevin Durant to run wild. So, Kelly, tonight we are going with the surging Atlanta Hawks on the road in Orlando. Get ready. The Hawks are going to be a problem for somebody.
Book it.
No, I didn't say that.
Good luck, George, as always. Good luck.
Yeah, I know. But what about him? He has no right.
You can't listen to Parker, man. Just let him do his thing and just put him over in the corner. He's like the little kid that nobody wants to play with. You go over there.
Play nice in the sandbox by yourself.
Kelly, get some beauty sleep tonight. You look rough today.
Wow.
Hater.
we're done for today. Thanks to the sounds for this terrific setup that we have. We'll see you tomorrow on the George Plaster Show.